Welcome, fellow wordsmiths. Today we're going to explore motivation, the M in GMC. I'm going to show you ways to motivate your character so the reader cares about why the character is doing what they're doing, which you'll discover is what keeps your reader reading. And I'm betting you're going to be surprised by this novel approach. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm giving you the same chart I always use to create the GMC for all my books, so stay tuned. We've discussed how to create goals for your character in the first video of the series. Now we need to motivate our characters to achieve that goal. As I said, motivation is basically the why to the want of the goal you've created for your character. Why does she want this? As a quick recap, this is the basic GMC chart that I use. I used Deborah Dixon's book on goal, motivation, and conflict to help me start building my chart, and the link to that book is in the description below. Then I modified my chart with helpful prompts that keep me on track. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to build your character's motivations, I want to share some quotes that really helped me. Don't worry, the quotes will be available on the screen as well, but I find it works to just listen and let your brain absorb the concepts. Motivation can never be too strong, and urgency is as important for motivation as it is for goals. Deborah Dixon. Keep asking your character why, digging deeper past basic life needs until we find a motivation that isn't so heroic. Then stop digging. Laurie Schnebley Campbell. Multiple motivations work to keep your characters on task. Deborah Dixon. The goal is nothing without the motivation to make it happen. Laurie Schnebley Campbell. Okay, now you can open your eyes. You'll see as we dig deeper that these concepts drive how I develop my character's motivations. You've already created the goals for your character, right? So now is the time to ask yourself, why does she want this goal? The answer to this question of why she wants this particular goal is the driving force of action, and which, by the way, is a huge help in plotting your book. The why is the reason the character does anything in the story and makes your character believable. And remember, if you don't have action, her doing things to achieve her goal, you're going to have a dull book. Now it's time to use the chart and put these ideas to practical use. A strong why allows your reader to suspend disbelief, which in turn means they'll keep on reading, and better yet, will be so satisfied with the book they'll buy the next one. Then you ask the question because. They want what goal because. And here is the secret, the concept you may not be using. Are you ready for it? Motivations are often driven by selfish, self-serving, or non-heroic needs. So dig deep and don't skimp, even if it feels painful to think of your character like this. Remember, this is what drives your character throughout the story. Once you find this, stop. Yes, motivations are often driven by values and belief, but we are human and we have flaws. Readers don't always have to like or approve of your character's motivations, but they have to believe it. Believing it means that they can see it in the actions taken and understand it. They may even relate to it and see a bit of it in themselves or have experienced it in others. Motivations are not, I repeat not, often sterling attributes. Again, don't fall into the trap of believing your character is golden and wears a halo. He or she isn't a saint and has all of our human failings. You're investing your reader into the story when they can believe why the characters are doing what they are doing. Let me say this in a different way. Your character's motivation makes him credible. So unless the reader understands the motivation of your character, they'll not believe the actions he takes to make the goal possible. As promised, let's go beyond theory, and I'll show you how I make this work. We'll use the same chart we started building in the prior video lesson on goal. I'm still using the two books I've been using throughout the video series, Prince of Granola for romance and Viking Gold for action-adventure. For Prince of Granola, I've built Drew's external goals. She needs to save the family business, and then I set some smaller goals which will help with the plotting. The question you ask yourself is why this goal? Then answer with because, which is the motivation. Drew needs to save the family business. That's a worthy goal. However, after digging deep to find out why, we realize that she doesn't want the business to die on her watch. Does it mean it can die later? Not without her trying her best to get Theo, her brother with a freshly minted MBA and top honors, involved in the business. Her internal goal is that she wants a new role in the company, and again give Theo, her brother, the CEO title that she so hates. She wants to be a creator, a chocolatier, not a bean counter or even a visionary. But she also knows that her brother Theo most likely will not be interested in resurrecting a dying business unless she can entice him with this rare cacao bean plantation. Thus, she has to win the bid. Another powerful motivation is that Robert, a childhood friend, is the other bidder, and no way is he going to see her fail. This is what I mean by multiple motivations. They are powerful and they drive the story forward. Onward to Viking Gold. The first major goal is to find the Nazi gold before winter sets in. I've also created a series of smaller goals, which, as I've mentioned, helps plotting. That's a pro tip for you. Now that you have the external goal, ask the question, why this goal, and answer with because, again, the motivation. Remember, you can have multiple motivations which add depth to the story, and always be sure to look at the urgency for each one. Abby wants to find the gold because it's only a myth, and she wants the glory of another feather in her cap by proving the myth is real, just as she did in Stone of Heaven. And better, this time Herman is by her side, and she can prove to him that she's as good a treasure hunter as he is, which is an example of a multiple motivation. I hammer on these points because they really do deepen your story. Now onward to Herman. He wants to look for the gold because he's intrigued, yet suspicious of the man who wants to hire them. Herman is always on the lookout for the next challenge so he can show off his new technology. Remember my secret. Motivations are often driven by selfish, self-serving, or non-heroic needs. Okay, now to show you how I create the internal goal and motivation. By now, the reader knows that both of my characters treasure hunt, but as the book progresses, they will discover that Abby and Herman have different motivations. Abby is an adrenaline junkie, making increasingly dangerous moves with each hunt, again done to prove herself. Herman loves the artifacts he finds as he is a collector, but we learn as the story progresses that he has a much deeper internal need, that Vice Industries is tops in the field, meaning his father couldn't possibly have caused the accident that took lives. Additionally, the big question that needs to be answered for the romantic element is, by the end of the book, will he stand by and watch the woman he loves continually court disaster? So by using the prompts on the side of the GMC chart, ask the question why these goals, answer with because, and remember the urgency for each one. Abby believes she always has to prove herself to be as good or better than her parents because they were famous archaeologists. Herman is always fighting the stigma of his father, brothers, and another man's death to a supposed malfunction in the equipment his father designed and built. Herman has made the company bigger, better, and world-renowned. He finds more because he uses his wealth and technology, but is cautious, the antithesis of Abby, not wanting a repeat disaster. Remember that the external and internal motivations can and should get your character into a lot of trouble, and they are going to struggle. This creates great story movement. Remember also that motivation is what makes the character grow and keeps the reader involved. So unless we, the author, know the character's motivations, their behavior can seem irrational to the reader, and hey, that we don't want. So, goals need motivation, and if the character doesn't achieve the internal and external goals, conflict and disaster will happen. So, your character is highly motivated to make sure that doesn't happen. Granted, the degree of that outcome is somewhat genre dependent, but the tension of whether they succeed shouldn't be any less in a romance than a mystery. Your job is to make the motivations real, difficult, and urgent. Conflict is the third video in this series, so keep an eye out for it. And remember, I have a copy of the GMC chart you can download. The link is below in the description. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons to get those notifications of when my new videos drop. Those two little things mean the world to my channel. And comment if you wish. I'll respond, promise. Bright like the wind.